So that was Mrs. Robinson there from Simon and Garfunkel, followed by Jacqueline from The Coral. So now we've had the big quiz of the week. We didn't think it could get any better.
But it can.
But it can, because we have our interview now. And we are delighted, hopefully, after a few little technical problems, to welcome Harrison Smith. Are you there?
Hi, how are you?
Hey, hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome to the American Dream Team.
Beg your pardon?
Welcome to the American Dream Team.
Thank you very much for having us.
No
my director, Joe Raffa, will be calling in. He's in Center City, Philadelphia. He was on before the technical glitch. He had to get back to something, and he's going to be calling right in. I did text him to say, get your butt on here. So
Okay.
calling in momentarily.
We've got you, so that's all fine.
So tell us about 6 Degrees of Hell.
Sure. I'm the producer and the writer of the film, and it was shot locally in Pennsylvania in a town that is called Saylorsburg, which has an old hotel that was known as the Lake House Hotel, which was built back in the late 1800s. And the house has a very sordid kind of history to it, which is cool. It's a 100-room hotel, and it was originally a tavern, and they built the hotel over the structure to kind of, they felt that bad things happened to the tavern, so they built this structure over it to kind of like lock in the bad. And actually, if you go up in the attic of the building, you can look through a hole in the building and look down on the original structure that is still encased by the building itself. It's really weird.
That sounds terrifying.
It's a lot of fun, actually. And when I got the idea, I love going through it. The people that do the Hotel of Horror just put on one hell of a show. They really do. This isn't a bunch of people walking around in Freddy and Jason masks. These are all original characters. These people live and breathe their characters for, almost a month and a half out of the year. And going through one time, they had this guy strapped to a table, and he was screaming, help me, and they were, like, pulling intestines out of him and everything. And I kept thinking, like, what if this was real? Like, nobody's helping this dude. Like, what would happen if we're all walking by going, wow, that looks really real. Well, what if it was? And from there, we kind of went into this. I built this story around that concept that this evil wakes up and has actually been inside the hotel for a number of decades, and this young girl, it's been after her. It's kind of like a supernatural stalker, and when she finally comes to the hotel and actually comes in physical contact with the building, she completes basically like a circuit. And this thing, all hell breaks loose, I can tell you that. The last 15 minutes of the movie, we hope people are screaming and hanging on each other in the theater, and we're really hoping it's great.
Yeah, Chloe here couldn't even watch the trailer without jumping. We watched it about 15 minutes ago, and she suddenly shot backwards, and I didn't know what she was watching, and then I realised she was watching the trailer. So already it's had an impact.
I'm glad to hear that.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing the film, not least because of one of your stars, the lovely Corey Feldman.
Hey.
Tell me how did you manage to get him involved?
Well, it was a really interesting idea because I don't know how it plays. I know British horror is very different than American horror in a lot of ways, and I kind of lean toward British horror. 6 Degrees, I don't know if you got it from the trailer because the trailer's so short, but I wanted some deliberate references to the Hammer films of the 1960s in this. And so, getting Corey was kind of a toss-up because over here, horror doesn't really need names. It makes names, but most American horror, aside from maybe The Shining and a few others, big movie star names don't really do anything for horror. So getting Corey was a tactical decision because he has such a great pedigree in horror. So from Friday the 13th Part 4, and of course The Lost Boys and all of that. So we actively pursued him, and we sent out the script, and his agent read the script, and he called me up and he said, he goes, I don't mean to really berate you, he said, but how the hell are you going to pull this off with a gigantic hotel? I said, I got one. He goes, you're going to have to build something like this. I said, no, I got one. I said, we have a hotel. Trust me, it's done. And so I sent him pictures of the place and the website, and he read the script. He liked it. He passed it on to Corey. And about 5 days later, Corey called me up on my cell phone, and he said, listen, I love the script, and I'm in. Can we do this? And here are the dates I'm available, and it just happened to coincide with our shooting schedule. So it worked out really well.
That's awesome. That's great.
That's great. So you're in post-production at the moment,
Correct.
and you're looking at releasing in October. Is that right?
That is the plan. That's right. It's a perfect. It's a perfect Halloween picture. It really is.
Oh yeah, definitely got to be out for October.
Halloween.
I was going to say I didn't. I was like, oh, October, and then October.
Yeah, Corey's very excited about it too. I mean, he has it all over his Facebook and his website, and he's donating a song to the soundtrack for the end credits, and we're actually mixing that in. That's one of the final sound mixes we're doing this Sunday on March 4th is our final sound mix on the film, and he's very proud of it, and he should be because he's really, really good in it.
That's great.
Is he singing on it or playing an instrument?
He's singing. Yeah, he's singing. Yeah,
Didn't know he was a
song is
singer.
called
Man of many
Negativity.
talents.
It's on his website. If you go to his website, the song, you can play it. I think if you click to the upper top right, you can play the song, a sample of the song Negativity.
Okay.
And that's what's going to be on our soundtrack at the end, running over the titles.
Sounds nice and
Definitely be
ominous.
Checking that out.
Negativity. I think you will be pretty negative if you were locked inside that hotel.
No, I love the idea of this this big old hotel in Pennsylvania, because I was studying Pennsylvania last
especially.
year.
Yeah.
And in fact, I spent last Easter in Nazareth, which I believe is not very far at all from Sailorsburg.
Yeah, you're real close.
Yeah.
You were real close to us. Yeah.
See, if only I'd known, then I could have.
We
Put
could have
tonight in
dressed
there.
you up, and you could have been thrown around as some sort of.
Could have got a
Ghoul.
role in the film.
I know. Oh,
Oh, there's Jodie.
about
She's the
that.
one covered in blood, just in the corner over there.
having my intestines pulled out.
Having her
yeah.
intestines pulled out. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I'm assuming Joe hasn't dialed in yet, but can you tell us?
He has-
Am I right in
no,
thinking
he hasn't yet.
he's very young?
Yes, Joe. I'll tell you. If I don't bore you to death, I can tell you exactly how I met him. I have another film coming out on April 24th, and it'll be in the UK. It's called The Fields with Cloris Leachman and Tara Reid, and
I love Tara
it's
Reid.
based on what happened to me as a child growing up. My grandparents' farm came under attack by probably was a group of people that literally came out of the cornfields, and they cut the power lines, and they killed the dogs and smashed the windows out, and it was a pretty scary time. And Cloris Leachman plays my grandmother in the film as well. So after the film was done, Joe reached out through the film's Facebook, and he said, I'm this director. I wrote and directed this movie called You'll Know My Name, and would you like to see a trailer? And at that point, we've been getting a lot of trailers from people that everybody thinks they're going to make the next Paranormal Activity. You know, they're these $5,000 films, and they're all shaky camera, and, and it's like, oh, was that a ghost? Like that kind of stuff.
Well,
and
that
although
one
that's
made
fine,
millions, didn't it? Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal did, but there's a very long story behind that. It wasn't just like somebody went out and dropped $5,000 on a Best Buy camcorder and made $240 million. It didn't
Exactly.
work that way. It's a great story that Hollywood loves to tell. Unfortunately, it means pretty much every dope with a camcorder now thinks they're going to make the next Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was all very calculated. The whole thing was an extremely calculated marketing move. And we know this because one of the distributors who was looking at the Fields actually turned down Paranormal Activity. And I had that conversation with him. I said, how's it feel to be the company that turned down Paranormal Activity? Because we still stand by it. That thing's a piece of crap.
Yeah, yeah. I had a lot of people say that. I mean, I watched the first one and it did scare me, but then now this is the constant reboots and redoing of them. It's just it's the same story pretty much 3 times over, and it just makes lots of money. It is.
Yeah.
It's nothing special. I completely agree.
It is, and I always equate those films with. They're kind of like those internet videos that you do to scare people, where you get somebody to sit in front of the screen and it's real quiet, and then all of a sudden, boom, something jumps out and you scream.
Still gets me. Those still get me.
That's pretty much Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, it is. And you never see
It's
anything.
long pieces of quiet, and then all of a sudden, bah, there's something. You go, oh, and then it's like, okay, now 80 minutes of nothing else happening.
Yeah.
See, that gets me.
That gets me.
Like, it just terrifies me.
Well, Joe, I'm sorry I got off track, but Joe reached out to me when I saw this. I hate to use the word kid, but he was 19 when he directed You'll Know My Name. He wrote, directed, starred, and edited his first feature at 19 years of age.
That's
Wow.
crazy. I mean, I'm 21 now, and that's that's an achievement.
And I'm not telling you how old I am,
And I
but-
feel like a father. He really is a wonderkind. And when I saw the trailer, I just thought I got to get a hold of this guy. And So I emailed him back, and we started talking, and then I thought, well, I'm seeing the best 6 minutes. You know, it was a 6-minute trailer. I'm like, it can't be all that good. Well, he let me borrow a copy, and it was that good. So it was like, I really, either I love this kid or I hate him. I just don't know which.
Can't decide.
Right, yeah, because I'm so freaking jealous of him. And on top of it, I don't know if you've seen pictures, but on top of it, God gave him good looks too.
Yeah, we
so
literally just
really
Googled him.
Yeah, we were just
kind of nodded in approval.
mouths were dropping there.
He's pretty much everything you want to be in life.
Is that why you put him in the show, in the film as well? 'Cause he's got a starring part, hasn't he?
Yeah, he does. He plays Kellen Hudson in the film, and he's the one in the trailer, the close-up where he says, Kelly is dead, Chris. That part, that's him. Yeah, that's him.
Oh,
so so it really, you just either want to kill him or embrace him. I don't know which. So it's like it can't be all true, and it is. And most of all, I'm sure he will get on here because I know he was right down in downtown Philly. He was coming out of a meeting, and so I know he's going to buzz in.
Hey, well, you can always come back.
Say again, please.
So you can always come back. Speak to us again.
Yeah, absolutely. He's very low spoken. He's not like me. Like a lot of people think that he's like not interested in them, and he just doesn't. It's kind of the old statement, talk only when you can improve the silence, and that's Joe. And a lot of people have said he's a man of few words, and I'm like, yeah. And they call him, his nickname around Philly is Jersey Joe because he lives in Sicklerville, New Jersey. So he's just a real low key. He's not a braggart. He's not arrogant, and that's what I mean. He's just so mellow. And when he gets directing, he's entirely different. And Corey Feldman told me, he said, when I met this guy, he goes, I got to tell you, he goes, he's young. And I said, yeah. And he goes, Bruce, he goes, yeah, I got to tell you, man. He goes, when I met him, I thought it was like Tom Cruise meets the Jersey Shore.
That's great.
And then he realized, then he said, he goes, this guy knows what he's doing. Corey was so absolutely impressed with Joe. And, I mean, Joe just, he knows how to direct, and he directed a great film with this, and I knew I wanted him to direct this, and he took a real chance because he went from a heavy-hitting drama, which You'll Know My Name will be released in May on a world and domestic platform, on wide on Netflix, Redbox, VOD, Comcast. So it's going to go pretty wide on video, and he's just a great director, and he knocked it out of the park with 6 Degrees, and he acts in it as well too. So it's pretty cool.
That is very cool. So I have a question. How much corn syrup blood did you get through in the production?
I can tell you there is one scene where we used almost 3.5 gallons of blood.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just, had to know from a production standpoint. Yeah. A large part of the budget, I'm sure, had to probably go on corn syrup blood.
Well, what we wanted to focus on too, although we do have the blood and the gore, we really wanted to give a good story.
Yeah,
and most of all, what I think is really important, and a message to get out to your listeners is, it's not a misogynistic horror film. This isn't about brutalizing women. That's not. I mean, I know a lot of horror films do that. This is not torture porn. And although it doesn't sound politically correct, those films have their place, and that's fine if you're fans of them. That's not what we set out to make. Yeah. And so we want to give the audience their due. I mean, they're expecting blood. They're expecting gore. There is nudity. Where it's not the gigantic silicone-breasted blonde running naked through the woods and Jason
being the
Voorhees
first to die. Yeah.
With a machete. If people want that, they're going to have to see another movie because that's not what we have.
Yeah.
All the females are very strong. They're all intelligent. They don't do stupid things. So it's kind of really neat to watch the characters evolve, and then we just really give it to you, especially that last 15 minutes. But what's nice is we keep it creepy and scary and jumping throughout the entire movie, and the movie runs at a very brisk 94 minutes. Yeah.